Mr. Summers, did you realize back several months ago at an oversight hearing, I asked Ms. Greta Thunberg, who is a spokesman, for the Green New Deal and other issues the Democrats have. She has 17.9 million followers. I asked her, with China and India, how are we going to get them to cut their emissions when they're the leaders in the world and America has come down on emissions? Do you realize she said they were going to ask them to? Is this a proper response, in your opinion?
Thank you, Congressman, for your question. As you know, the United States accounts for about 12.6% of world emissions, and our emissions continue to go down year on year. China's emissions account for about 32.6% of world emissions, and their emissions continue to go up. The key point is that, yes, climate change is real, and that we need to step up to the plate and do what we can to address the climate challenge. But at the same time, this is a global challenge. This isn't a challenge that can be taken on just by one company or by one country. We need a global solution to the climate challenge. But this industry has not waited for others to step up to the plate to deal with that challenge. In fact, earlier this year, the American Petroleum Institute put forward a very forward-looking position on climate change and API's Climate Action Framework. And the interesting thing about that framework, Congressman, is that it's not just about what we're asking the government to do, but what the industry is committing to do to reduce climate change over time. And we're proud of that forward-looking agenda. But as you point out, this is a global challenge, and the world's going to continue to demand oil and gas for the future. The question I think lawmakers have to answer is whether the world's going to get that oil and gas from the United States, where it is produced cleaner, better, and safer, or whether they're going to get that oil and gas from countries that are hostile to American interests. I think the answer is clear from our perspective.
And this administration is content to get our natural gas and oil, as Mr. Jordan said, and paying ungodly amounts in the future if we can get gas from countries that don't like us. Does that make sense to you?
Congressman, thank you again for your question.
Does that make sense?
No, sir.
No, and nor does Greta Thunberg's answer, which was a Pollyannish answer saying, yes, we will ask them to be nice. It does not make sense. Mr. Summers, isn't it true that most of the raw materials and manufacturing capacity for renewables necessary to execute Biden's zero emissions goal comes from China?
That is the case, Congressman.
And does China's ability to manufacture renewables cheaply have anything to do with the fact that their factories are powered by oil and gas, or that their economy runs on 84% fossil fuels?
Congressman, the Chinese economy continues to expand not just oil and gas infrastructure, but in fact, based on the data that we've seen, China is adding a coal plant a week. Their emissions continue to go up while American emissions continue to go down, mainly because the United States has made a fuel switch from coal as the primary source of power to natural gas. And that is because natural gas prices have gotten lower as a consequence of the technological and innovative revolution that occurred in this country over the course of the last decade. We're able to find more of this energy here at home. And as a consequence of that, we've been actually able to reduce emissions even while our production is going up. In fact, no country in the world has reduced emissions more than the United States. And it's because of the American oil and gas industry.
And China is not being held to the same emission standards that we are. Yet the Biden administration and the questions you've had don't even address this. They are content to buy from countries that don't like us and let Americans suffer as they pay for not just gas, but every other commodity that they're trying to buy now. I now yield to Congressman Fox.